so I may be taking the whole concept of getting a non-combat hobby a little far. I had spent the entire night playing away. Although I had to practically whisper the words, it still counted as long as I kept playing the guitar until the song ended. So through the night I got little alerts, drip-fed in. I had even hacked into the radio to have it play through my agent so I wouldn't wake June. That had only taken a few minutes to set up, and I had even gotten an intelligence alert from it. Grinding Rockaboy actually went pretty quickly. With Rockaboy level 1, I was actually somewhat capable of keeping up with the music, and in fact had a pretty nice advantage. My arms were chrome. I didn't get tired, my fingers didn't get sore. I didn't have to worry about my fingers needing calluses. I could simply strum the strings, play the chords, and keep hammering away at it through the night. So I did. At first it wasn't fun. I didn't know enough modern music to play along with, as I wasn't exactly a musician in either life. So I had to keep trying, working through songs that I didn't know while doing my best to keep up. Thankfully I didn't need to know the lyrics if I was strumming along, or the chords if I was singing. Until I finally leveled up. Level 2 Rockaboy gave me a perk option, and as I had learned, perks were power. As always there were a lot of interesting perks, including a perk that would improve my vocals. Siren's song went on the list, but I needed something else first, something to solve the biggest grinding issue that made the whole thing a chore rather than fun. And there was a perk that fit every criteria I needed. I had barely hesitated once I found it before choosing it as my level 2 perk. Perfect musical memory. Any song you've heard once you'll remember, including the chords needed to replay it and the lyrics. I had taken it thinking it would be useful going forward. Maybe I could get away from using the radio as a crutch even, if I could just listen to a song and remember it enough to play it. But, as always, the perks were so much more powerful than that. The moment I had selected the perk in the middle of the night I had nearly yelped at how my mind exploded as the memories flooded in. Rockaboy 2 had given me a firm basis on chords and pace, as well as the muscle memory to play the guitar at a point where I was actually playing. Well, at least I wasn't acting like the kid in first-year music class anymore. But now? I had heard thousands of songs in my life, no, in both lives. Memories from a previous life coming in clutch. I took a moment to figure out what to play first, and decided on some childhood sounds, something that I hadn't heard since waking up in a coma. Something. Yeah, the first strums of Nirvana's Come As You Are flooded my head. I even knew the lyrics perfectly, like I had spent years memorizing them. I strummed and sang along. For the first time in my life, actually really playing a song for myself. No, I don't have a gun. Memory. I belted out. And honestly, when I finished, the final note trailing off, I felt good. 100 Rockaboy XP gained. An instant alert. I guess the system had liked me actually getting everything right. Mostly. I had slipped on a few chords, and my vocals were still bad. I had enough knowledge to know I sounded flat, without knowing how to fix it. Stupid voice. But I could actually judge myself now. I knew just where I needed to improve, and a constant reminder my voice needed work. What was that? June's voice suddenly interrupted me and I yelped, nearly falling off the couch. I had been so focused on the music in my ears and singing along that I hadn't heard him come out from his room. June. Stop being a ninja. That's my job. June? I asked, blinking a bit as I came out of the haze of making music. I popped the cord out of the bottom of the guitar, letting it settle back in my neck. That song. What was it? Never heard it before. I opened my mouth and closed it. How in the world was I supposed to explain that I knew a song that didn't exist? Nirvana didn't exist in this world. I guess America and its Seattle residents were a little too focused on the First Central American War that was happening during the time, for a grunge band to become popular. Or maybe they were drafted. I had no way of knowing. In fact, the only reason I even knew the war had been happening at the time was because I had looked up old bands on the internet a while back while wanting to listen to something from my time. Just a song I heard once, I think. I offered, deciding to just not admit to anything. You should have told me you were standing there. It's embarrassing. I could hear you from my room. You were singing pretty loud, Emoto. I blinked. I guess I had been a little too into it. It had just been so nostalgic. Sorry? I said, feeling my face flush a bit. I had been trying to keep my voice down, but I guess with the excitement of the perk I had forgotten. Don't be. It's okay, he said, but then to my embarrassment he didn't leave either. What? Nothing. I'm just standing here, he said, lips quirking into a smirk. Fine. If you want a song, I'll sing you one. Jerk. I grumbled, but since I was already on a Nirvana kick. Smells like Teen Spirit, I mumbled, before starting. The power chords were a little annoying. But I realized instantly I wasn't getting the sound just right. I adjusted my fingers a few times, repeating the intro refrain until I got it. The chord finally came out right, and I started into the song. Rockoo Boy 2 gave me a lot, but I could still make a stupid mistakes. Load up on guns, bring your friends. I started belching out, a bit more clearly than the honey mumbles of Cobain, and not nearly as sweet. And I played the song. A few mistakes here and there, and without the drums and bass it wasn't as good, but I played through it. Another alert popped up as I finished. Huh, June mumbled a bit as he seemed to take me in for a few moments. Well? Don't just listen to the whole song and then hum me. It was interesting. You could use some more practice though, he told me, smirking. Jerk-ass older brothers. Then suddenly he reached over and mussed my hair. Which, our stupid chrome hands. I'm proud of you, Motoko. Do this instead of merc work. It's safer, he said firmly, and I puffed some air to knock my bangs out of my eyes. Not a chance. I'll just do both. Rita said I should get a hobby that was more spiritual instead of just death and murder, you know? So I guess music works. He nodded. A smart woman. Who's Rita? Oh, Rita works as a bouncer at Lizzie's. She's nice. She talked to me about being chipped forcefully, and offered some advice. I told him, and June frowned at my words. I guess it was still too soon for June to hear about the kidnapping. Be careful with the mocks. But I'm glad you had someone to talk to. Make sure you thank her next time you see her. He told me, and I snorted. Of course, I said, rolling my eyes, like I wasn't going to thank Rita for her advice. June just chuckled at my reaction and then to my surprise started getting dressed up. You heading out? Got a gig, they are calling me in. Kamikaze work. You need a hand? I offered, eyes narrowing at the idea of June going out to fight so late at night. No, he said, shaking his head and passing me a smile. I just need to stand around and look scary. 6th Street are seeking a meeting to talk about ending hostilities with us. Of course, by us June meant Tiger Claws. I nodded. It made sense. Everyone had started fighting with the NCPD out of the picture. Even if the TC had been focused on the Maelstrom, and a little on the mocks, that didn't mean the other gangs didn't exist. Be safe. I will. Should pay well, maybe I'll grab some more subdermal. He mentioned tapping his plastic stomach bit. If you do, go to Vic's. I know you haven't had that checkup yet. Moron. I called out loudly so he couldn't ignore me. Yeah, he mumbled, but as he left I nodded. I looked out the window and sighed. It was the middle of the night. The people I would need to talk to. Well, it would be best not to show up at 3 in the morning. So instead I figured a bit more music wouldn't hurt. So I spent the rest of the night playing through songs, some of which had never existed in this world. But I continued playing long after I would have gotten tired. Long after a normal person would have become exhausted and needed a break. Long enough that Rockaboy 2 became Rockaboy 3. Then 4. My talent at music skyrocketed. I was no longer an amateur player. I was competent. I wasn't amazing. I still made mistakes. Flubs, missed chords, but I always knew when I made a mistake, it was no longer someone struggling just to try, it was a practiced hand. I liked it. Any song I wanted to hear, I could just start playing, or singing along. My voice sounded better too, like I had some training on how to professionally sing. I wasn't amazing, I wasn't sure if I would need a perk, or just increased skill overall before my voice sounded good, but I did sound better. I could at least hit the right notes with my voice now. I wasn't tone deaf. Humming to myself, I looked out the window, seeing the sun was high in the sky. It was time to stop. As much as my fingers tingled to keep working on this new grind, This was supposed to be something other than a grind to weaponize it, but using it as an excuse to waste some time? That was fine. But now it was back to work. So I set my guitar down, and instead geared up. One of the things I had talked Saul into handing over to even the debt was information on Regina Jones. I still had a devil to kill after all. Regina Jones had an office in Watson. I just hadn't known where until now. Saul himself didn't have the information, but he did have a connection to the nomad fixer Dakota Smith, who did. Dakota had handed over the information, and Saul had handed it to me. Of course Saul owed Dakota something now, but that was just how business worked in the Badlands. So here I was. Yuba Tower. Which was annoying because it was literally down the street from Lizzie's bar. I sighed as I walked up to the tower, not through the main entrance which had the bottom rooms all rented out and used by business or pleasure. No, there was a side elevator that went up directly to the top floors. The private floors. There at the very top, Regina Jones had her base. She owned the whole tower, apparently renting out floors to others. The elevator was actually in a small room that was pretty secure. A camera watched over the little room, and the elevator was secured. Only someone with permission could use it. Which meant I needed to get it. I hit options on the little electronic pad next to the elevator until I found the call button for the top floor, and pushed it. Then I waited. A minute passed by before I got a response. Whatever it is, we aren't interested. The voice on the line was a man, so it wasn't Regina, which made this more difficult. I'm just here to speak to Ms. Jones about a gig. Listen kid. I don't know you, so we aren't interested. The voice popped back on, and I was getting a little annoyed. At least hear me out first, you dickbag. I had already put off murdering that devil for long enough. I wasn't waiting any longer. No, you listen. I need to. You hung up. I noticed the talk notification was gone. Fuckers. I considered what I should do here. One part of me said walk away. I could build up some reputation and then smash my skill over this jerkwad's head another time. But that was the reasonable part of me. The unreasonable part said I should infiltrate this building and find Regina Jones. I sighed. That would be extremely difficult if not impossible. I had no idea what her security was like, but I would put money she had a netrunner on retainer, so it wasn't like I could just hack in. Fine. Operation Be Fucking Annoying was a go. I went out to the alley, grabbed a piece of trash I could sit on and carried it inside. Then I started hitting the call button. A lot. Fuck off. The response came through again, but I was ready for it. The last few times he had cursed me out, he had instantly hung up on me again. So I just kept pushing the button. Listen kid, if you don't fuck off, I'm gonna come down there and fucking end you. He was still talking this time. I need to speak to Regina. Regina doesn't chat with punk kids. You push that button again and I'm coming due. So I pushed the button. Fuck this, he yelled, and the call ended, but this time the elevator was coming down. This could be dangerous. I considered just staying where I was, but people in Night City were kinda trigger happy. I looked around looking for a good advantage, but when I finally realized the best place wasn't on the floor, I looked up. Yeah, that would work. Ian McKellen. Ian was not having a good day. Sure, he could just turn off the elevator alert, but Regina would murder him if someone important came by, and they couldn't be reached. He wasn't supposed to go down like this. Regina had told him before not to do it. But it was just one kid. The outer doors were locked. He had locked them from above, and the camera in the room meant he knew there was only one person inside. He would beat the kid a little bit, maybe a bullet hole or two, and then head back up. Only as the elevator reached the bottom the kid wasn't there. The fuck? He crept out, his Lexington at the ready as he looked around. This was wrong. Regina was right, coming down like this was a mistake. He had that thought a moment too late. A second later something dropped on him from above, and in a flurry of motion which he tried to resist, but it was just too much force dropping down on him from above, he lost his Lexington. Ripped out of his hands and was thrown to the ground as the fucking ninja pinned him to the ground. Had she just spun around his neck to smash him into the ground? He was dazed, trying to resist when he felt his own gun press against his temple. He finally managed to realize what position he was in. His arms were pinned by a chromed-out arm and a pair of legs while his own gun was about to take his life. "Fuck. You say that a lot," she said, completely calm. As if she hadn't just attacked and completely neutralized him. He wondered if he could get a quick hack out fast enough before she blew his brains over the entranceway. "Listen, buddy. I'm just here to talk to Regina about a gig. Let's call this whole unfortunate experience just a mistake and move on. Okay?" She asked the last bit of it with a wide smile and slight nudge of the gun up against his head. "Why, yeah. Just a mistake." "Cool. Why don't you call your boss? Let her know she has a merc looking to meet up? Whenever it's convenient." "I'm not looking to annoy her," she said, and Ian took that for the lie it was, considering she had just spent the last hour annoying the shit out of him. Fine. He pulled up his agent and found Regina's number. Regina was never going to let this go. "Ian. What is it? Where are you?" "Hey Regina, downstairs, mind checking the cam? But basically I got knocked down by a fucking ninja. She's looking to talk to you. Wouldn't mind a bit of hurry, the gun against my temple is a little uncomfortable." "Ian, you dumbass, I told you not to go down if there was anyone out there. People are looking to kill us. Maybe talk to her soon so she won't?" Suddenly Regina's voice came over the comm unit. "All right, you have one of my people at gunpoint. Not happy about it. Talk." Sorry. Hi, I'm Motoka Kusanagi, I'm a merc, although I usually work with Waikiko. I'm here about a gig, or rather setting up a gig. It's a little complicated and definitely a sensitive topic." The ninja still held him down, acting as if Ian wasn't even there. "Bitch. How about first you stop holding a gun against the head of my people?" "Sure, I mean he started it," she said as she suddenly untangled herself from him and stepped away. She even held out the gun for Ian to take back. Definitely a bitch. He took it anyway. "So can we talk?" Motoka the girl asked, and as Ian rose up he realized just how short the girl was compared to him. She was a fucking teenager. He was never living this down. "Listen kid." "No wait, don't listen kid me. That's such bullshit. You definitely haven't heard of me, I get it. But I'm a merc, and I'm good at what I do. So I'm here. It has to do with the devil of Kabuki," she said, and Ian stilled. "Jotaro. That fucking monster. Can I come up so we can talk about this?" "I'm not sure this is the most secure." The girl started talking, but Regina cut her off, sounding much more serious about this whole interaction. "What about him?" "I want to kill him," the teenager said with a calm surety, and Ian knew this day was going to go bad. A kid with too much balls and not enough brains to realize the danger of Jotaro Shobo. Especially since she was a pretty enough girl. "You?" "Sure. I'm good at assassinations. It's sorta my thing. Jotaro's a piece of shit. But he decided to be a fucking gonk and threaten me and my chooms. So he has to die. I figured some fixer somewhere would have a gig to kill him," she said, and Regina was quiet for a minute as if processing what the girl was saying. "A few of us probably do, but it's not as easy as you say. Jotaro keeps a low profile. He isn't easy to track down. He spends a lot of time at his club, the Ho Club actually. The top floor is his residence. And his BD studio," the girl said, dropping some very valuable knowledge out of the blue. And also her voice went so cold there at the end. Despite the fact Ian was gripping his gun, he was feeling uncomfortable. A momentary knowledge that the crazy ninja girl that had just taken him down in a second wasn't just some teenager. The girl was dangerous. It struck him then, she could very likely be some crazy edge runner that just liked to look like a teen. It wouldn't be the weirdest thing he had ever seen. A reminder to not underestimate someone ran through his head as he inched away from her. "You can do it?" Regina questioned her, digging a little. "Can I kill him?" "Yes." "Can I do it without anyone knowing?" "Yeah, probably. That's my goal on this one. My brother is a member of the TC, so I kinda need this to be a below-the-table sort of thing. Hence why Waikiko doesn't want to touch it. And why I'm here." "I see." Regina went quiet. "All right kid. I do have an offer to kill him that's been gaining dust. You take him out. I'll consider the gig closed, and I'll take care of the details." "Deal." I left Regina after a few minutes of back and forth about the gig. I finally had her number as well. So there. I was officially a better than average merc with 2 fixers hiring me. But I refocused, because it was time. I drove the car over to Lizzie's, parking in the lot and heading to the front. Thankfully Rita was there and I waved her down. "Hey Rita. Can we talk for a minute?" She blinked but nodded without any preamble. "Bet, take over for me," she called out to one of the other bouncers as she waved me in. She took me to the admin room right off the entrance, the same one that Knox had been brought to when he was beat up. "What's up Motoko? You okay?" "Actually yeah, I took what you said and I know sorry, but that's not what I needed. So I'm gonna be honest. You ever heard of a piece of shit called Jotaro Shobo? The devil of Kabuki?" Rita's plastic face went from kind and understanding to murderous in an instant. "Yeah." She growled a bit. "Is he threatening you?" "Not exactly. Well I mean he did. But when he realized I worked with a kamikaze a bit, he backed off." I winced a bit in Rita's obvious discomfort at my reveal. "I'm not actually a member though. I just worked with them because my brother June is in the kamikaze. He joined to kill Maelstrom. They killed his tomb. I'm just looking out for him to make sure he doesn't go psycho. And I'm rambling." I quickly threw my hands up to try and move on from that topic. "Rita. I just took a gig to murder Jotaro. I know where he is, and I don't need help." I quickly filled her in. "But having an alibi for where I was while it happens would be extremely useful. I'm gonna take him out tonight, so do you mind if I stick around, make sure everyone sees me here, and help make sure no one notices me leaving for an hour or so later tonight?" Rita looked at me a little dumbstruck. "Motoko, the devil isn't someone you can just. He is just a guy Rita, and I know where he is. He hides in his club all day every day from what I can gather. Trying to lay low, it's why so few people know where he is. I'll go in and out, no one will even know I was there if I do my job right. I just need an extra alibi just in case. My brother is Tiger Claw and if they catch on that I killed Jotaro they might cause some problems." I was breathing in ready to get another big breath when Rita's hands grabbed my shoulders. "I don't like the idea of you going after that monster alone. But of course we'll help you. The Mox have a particular bone to pick with that monster." "Great. So I just need to be seen hanging around for a few hours until dark." "I know the perfect thing," she said suddenly smiling and I suddenly wasn't. "I have a bad feeling about this. Welcome to Lizzie's. Don't touch anyone. If you like the looks of a girl please check our catalog." I repeated for the umpteenth time. "Yeah." Rita had with an amused smile actually convinced me the best way to make sure everyone knew where I was? Work the front desk. It wasn't really hard. I mean, greeting people, walking them through the catalog if they were somehow tech illiterate. Boom. Job done. I didn't even have to deal with the Eddies, another girl Mara did that. You know, as much as I hated the whole retail job, working the front desk of basically a strip club was actually pretty interesting. The Mox put up with zero shit, and everyone coming in knew it. If you were the type to get drunk, or backtalk, Rita threw them out on the street. If they were drunk, Rita threw them out on the street. Rita handled many a problem at Lizzie's, but it meant everyone was very polite until they got into the back and started scrolling their BDs, and then it wasn't like they were interacting or bothering anyone. "Here Motoko. I finally found it," Mara called out. She had been going into the back of the little reception area over and over to find something. I glanced over and instantly burst into laughter. "Mara, I am not wearing that." "Oh come on, it's a Mox jacket, and it'll fit." "Mara, it says fuck to live, kill to fuck." "Yeah. The Mox words." "Denied," I answered, crossing my arms in an X in front of me. "Or." The girl was a bit of a weird one, nice. But weird. I almost wanted to ask if she had some mental issues. The way she talked had a really slow pace to it, and it seemed to take her a while to do some tasks. But she was a sweetheart, so I wasn't going to make a fuss. "Are you sure? It would look good on you." I looked over at the blue jacket that had a fuzzy collar and the Mox words on the back. "I'm good, Mara, honest. I like my current jacket. It makes me feel cool." I whisper the last bit to her, earning some giggles before she stops and sort of blinks her big brown eyes. "What's cool?" My offense of course was swallowed down. It means it makes me feel preem. Ah, okay. You should just say that, she said, nodding a bit at her own words. Rita walked in, then caught my eye, nodding towards the back. Perfect, it was time. We walked into the back and then up the stairs to the roof. The roof that was currently cleared out. A favor from Rita. You sure about this, Motoko? I'm more than willing to come with, back you up. We can get others as well. Rita offered, looking serious. No. It'll be easier on my own. No one will even know I was there. I told her with a smile as I grabbed the backpack Rita had helped me prepare for this. I had told Regina and Rita that I wasn't planning on being spotted, but if I was, then I definitely couldn't go as Motoko. So Rita had helped out, along with some of the clothes I had picked up over my jobs. The wrap and dust mask went over my face. Rita gave me a wig that was long and red, along with a few spare clothes the Mox had left lying around from patrons forgetting things in the back rooms. I had a full outfit that no one would ever attribute to me. Now I just had to hope that with that, and my Kiroshi, I would truly be a ghost on this gig. Good luck. See you soon, Rita, I said as I started climbing. Rita hadn't known exactly why I had asked to use the rooftop, but she was about to get a front row seat. Up I went, climbing old AC units and power boxes until I clambered up onto the edge of the fence around the roof. Then I grabbed onto the highway overpass that ran right over Lizzie's bar. Climbing up the concrete outer edge was child's play. It had plenty of power lines and pipes running along the outside. After all, it wasn't like anyone would normally get this high. But I did. Easily climbing up onto the pipes and started walking. I was 2 or 3 stories up at least. The wind was strong, and no one ever saw me, except for Rita, who I left far below. I quickly reached the place where I could drop down onto the Bellevue Overwalk. The pedestrian infrastructure looked like it had once been part of a park or something. Now it was just full of bums and people hiding out. Dropping a dozen feet, I landed in a quiet crouch in a corner of the Overwalk, out of sight. As always, falling like that was a rush. The sense of surety that I could do it, that I would be safe, that I would be quiet. I loved it. I crossed the Overwalk. No one saw me. The few bums that were hanging around, or couples enjoying some quiet moments, never even noticing my bright red hair. I landed first on some roofs, and then crossed to a massive pipe that crossed the whole area. The pipe would lead me directly where I needed to go. As much as the entire area of Kabuki was a maze, from the rooftops it was child's play to reach where I needed to go. A few tiger claws hanging out on the roofs halfway to my destination were bypassed without a sound. I could have killed them. If I had been on any other gig I might have. But honestly, I felt kinda bad killing the tiger claws. I was one of them, in a way. As much as I denied affiliation, my family was one of them. If I had to turn to a gang for help, they would be the first I sought out. The fact was, in Night City everyone had a gang affiliation of some sort. Even if it was just to be left alone. But it didn't matter, because here I was. Standing on the roof of the Ho Club. No one the wiser, completely bypassing all the defenses and protections the hidden club would normally give. There was no one around. The rooftop was tucked away and quiet. No cameras. No hidden sensors. Nothing. I walked around from the north, letting me see right into the room that I knew was Jotaro's bedroom. He wasn't there, so I waited. I went very still in the shadows, letting me see into his room, but I knew he wouldn't see me, unless he spent the time to really look. It was so easy to let cool take over. Slow my heart and breathing, until I was practically a statue. Until every minute passed in a flash because I was simply waiting. Then he appeared, suddenly slamming open the door. He was pissed. Angry. Good. He snatched a pack of cigarettes out of his pocket as he grabbed one with his teeth and chucked the pack onto a side table near his bed. Then he was their head practically out the window as he smoked. Long trails of the grey smoke arching up, twirling before disappearing into nothing. I waited. He was angry. Not paying attention to anything outside the window. He was a man lost in his own thoughts. I shifted, just a tiny amount, as I moved out from the shadows, crossing the roof above him without a sound. He didn't see me. I walked along the edge of the roof until I was directly above him. He didn't hear me. I drew a knife, not my usual blade, but it would do. I fell. Right outside his window was a row of AC units. With them, and the concrete windowsill, I landed without any fear of something breaking and making noise. He didn't speak. A knife stuck in your throat tended to silence the screams. I held him, one arm around the back of his head, holding his body towards me so he couldn't fall away from me. Our eyes met. Even if mine were hidden behind the dust mask, I wondered if he could see the crimson of my irises. I wondered if he would remember the look in these same eyes when he threatened me. Made me realize what a monster he was. So I held him, as his body slowly crumpled. 750 XP gained. Ninjutsu skill level up. Huh? Hadn't seen an upgrade in that in a while. Level 8 ninjutsu. I shook my head away from the dump of very detailed, almost situational pieces of the skill. I wasn't done. Regina didn't just want him gone. She wanted a message to be sent to the Tiger Claws. She had a few ideas of ways to make his death messy enough. I had vetoed most of them, but had agreed to do the job with a knife she had supplied. Apparently it would have meaning to the TC. The other was to make sure it couldn't be hidden away. It was unfortunate I wasn't about to record this as a BD. I would have loved to spread around the sight of his eyes going dim as he bled out to the families of the many people this man tortured to death. But this would have to do. I left the knife in his throat, and then grabbed him around the collar of his stupid white suit. It wasn't white anymore. Then I hip-checked the body over the edge of the window. Once that was done, the loud splat of a falling body echoing around, I was climbing back up onto the roof thanks to the many easy-to-find handholds, and I was gone. Back across the rooftops, no one saw me even if the commotion started growing louder behind me. Rita was waiting for me on the roof. From the way she was fidgeting and pacing, I would have expected to see her chain smoking through a pack. But she wasn't smoking, just pacing like a caged lion. I landed onto the roof without more than a scuffed noise against the roof. "Hey Rita," I called out gently, making sure I was far enough away not to startle her. "Wah, Motoko, you're back." I nodded, glad for once I was able to approach someone without scaring the fuck out of them. I started peeling off the borrowed clothes, letting Rita take them and put them into a plastic bag that would be burned just to ensure there were no traces. With that I dressed back in my own clothes, and only when Rita checked me over for any blood stains did she give me the okay. We headed back down, the bag was given to another Mox to burn, and I was back out at the front desk for another few hours. Alibi complete. Gig done.